for your entertainment. A little audiobook. Hi everyone, my name is Leia, and I am head of the Thought Daughter committee. I have a lot of thoughts. Sometimes I channel them into text, into funny Instagram stories, into dramatic Instagram stories, into stand-up comedy, or mostly on Substack, into essays. And today I'm going to read one of my old essays that I haven't read in a while for your entertainment. A little audiobook. Because I have this mic and I never use it, so... This is my text. Is anxiety just microdosing endurance workouts? Let's go. If all else fails, Sade calms down. It's not calming me down right now, so the real question is, am I having a real heart attack this time? Sade is not on my ears by accident. It's on because I've been having this rush of anxiety since leaving my house to run to the subway, to then run to the train station, to catch a train. I put on Sade because nothing soothes your mind like her voice and overall presence. Even just thinking about Sade does something to a person in distress. I try taking an extra deep breath, the type of breath that stretches out your abdominal muscles, the type of breath you hold for a couple of seconds while every cell in your body is flexed, hoping for a tiny bit of release when you let it go. I'm gonna be so honest, that's 8 out of 10 breaths that I take per day. Every time I take a breath like this, I wonder if that strengthens your diaphragm. In the same way, I'm wondering if anxiety strengthens your overall fitness, or if doing stand-up comedy makes your cortisol, which is your stress hormones, levels rise to a clinically noticeable amount. I sometimes feel my heart beating as fast as when I've been sprinting for a cardiovascularly challenging while, whenever I question whether A, I have to throw up, B, I have left the kettle plugged in at home, C, everyone in the world hates me and I'm the worst person in the world. But that's not enough of a buzz for me. I also supplement my practice with doing stand-up comedy most nights of the week. I'm not nervous every single time I perform, but let's say I feel a little nervous a lot, and a lot nervous every once in a while. Realistically, like so for real, is there a medically noticeable peak in cortisol? And what if there is? Oh good lord. Am I having a heart attack this time around? I am having a heart attack this time around, haven't I? Can't believe I'm convincing myself I'm having a heart attack right now. Before even Googling whether or not my risk of having a heart attack at 22 years old has been significantly raised by wondering if I even exist in other people's minds when I'm not in the room. Cringe. Well, this time around, I at least have a reason to spiral. I'm on this train to get to a job interview to become a flight attendant. If I think about this again, that might be a pretty good reason to be nervous. And not just, oh my god, I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm so anxious. When you start studying something creative and aiming for a career in an industry most people don't dare to even consider stepping into, you quickly have to come up with a fast response to people asking you about failing. I've never really put any thought into coming up with a plan B, so that's why I started saying that if all else fails, I'll become a flight attendant. I love being on airplanes. I hate settling in one place for longer than 3 months, and I'm decent at customer service. So I guess this was always my backup plan. Now, at 22 and 10 months old, I'm on my way to see if my backup plan is working out. During the whole application process, I was doing it half seriously. Not the application itself. I was dead serious about that. But feeling-wise, I wasn't taking it seriously. Yesterday it hit me. What if my backup plan also fails? Maybe worse. What if it works out and I forget about plan A? Dumb bitch doesn't even have plan A defined. Well, maybe this time it isn't anxiety, but I'm actually having a heart attack. For realsies. On this train to a flight attendant interview, while listening to Sade. If I could, I'd make my whole life feel like Sade. Make everything feel like it has a fancy 80s interior with a conversation pit, a lot of carpet, and multiple light sources spread throughout the room. Whatever room Sade is in, I bet the ceiling light is never on. There are multiple smaller lamps with different warm shades of light illuminating the room, but only to the level of being able to see everything without concentrating too hard, while being spared from seeing too many details. But no fairy lights. A Sade room does not involve fairy lights. The furniture is mostly neutral, earthy tones, but there is specks of color. Tasteful color, like a warm, rich, dark red, a deep, velvety blue or moss green. There's art on the wall, but it's not where you'd expect it to be. It's off-center, a little too high or too low on the walls. It's not assembled the way IKEA would present their multi-pack of 8 picture frames on their website. The art makes sense, yet no one else would have put it in those places. Wow, I am calming down. I bet this is some type of exercise a therapist would use, creating a safe space in your mind. Maybe it's not anxiety, but I'm just hungry. When I have anxiety, I can't eat, which leads to more anxiety because A, Your body gets shaky when it's not well nourished or hydrated, and that's not only shaky but also scary. B, I get afraid I might faint, which is my second worst fear. But when I eat, even though I don't feel like eating, that coincidentally also increases my anxiety because A, I don't know, but I needed an A for the sake of continuity and to make a statement with the upcoming B. And B, I get afraid of throwing up, which is my worst fear in life. I went to therapy once or twice for this phobia, until they told me I couldn't go to the children's psychologist anymore because I turned 18 and it's all gonna be fine, I got this. Kisses. But now, as the anxiety lessens a bit, I feel a grumble in my stomach. My body is ready. I can eat. I can turn off Sade, at least for now. I'll continue self-medicating with some Criminal Minds because that will surely help ease an ever-worrying mind like mine. Part 2. Just a couple of hours later, I wish I appreciated the earlier anxiety levels while I had them, because the plot twisted and now I'm melodramatically crying, not inside of a train toilet, but in front of it. For the world, 7 other people on the late train back to Berlin, to see and possibly assist me in case of hyperventilation. They sent me home from the interview immediately. Immediately meaning after I introduced myself in front of everyone for 2 minutes. That's what I drove 5 hours to another town for. 2 minutes to give an elevator pitch about myself and answer the question, if I was an animal, what would I be? And then they don't want me? They don't even want me in the next round? Based on that? Is it because I said Komodo dragon and that's a red flag? What is their problem with Komodo dragons? Concerned fellow train passengers even got up to check on me. I never had to do that for anyone. I've never seen anyone cry violently on any public vehicle I've ever been on. I've lost it. And mind you, I didn't even really want this job. I'm going to be so cocky and say I wouldn't have minded that much if they kicked me out in the last round, because that would have meant that at least they considered me for a second. But being kicked out after 2 minutes is borderline crazy. How horrible of a human does one have to be kicked out after 2 minutes? DM me, I'll let you know what airline it was just so you can evaluate whether or not you'd want to be on a plane with a psychopath those Komodo dragon-hating clowns selected instead of me. A little bit of hating and my eyes dried up. I've made my way back to the train seat I reserved. Bless the floor in front of the train bathroom, but we're past that. Now that I can see beyond what's in my immediate vicinity again, I was wearing a lot of mascara, I can see in the reflection of the train window that the person in front of me is also watching Criminal Minds. The same exact show that's been keeping me sane throughout the last week of life crisis and application processes and train rides to job interviews. Is this a sign to, keep going? While Criminal Minds isn't a niche show, says the person who hadn't seen an episode until a literal week ago, it's always advertised on TV. It's on every Thursday at 9:15 on the same German TV channel. So I was always aware of its existence. It's just not your typical hype show that you'd expect people to be watching in front of you on the train. I don't know, like Stranger Things or whatever Bridgerton is. So I'm feeling a true bond with that random stranger sitting in front of me right now. They will never know. How sad. How beautiful. Has anyone ever felt something similar about me? Has anyone ever noticed something about me that made them go, she's just like me for real? It's like when you were 13 and buying YouTuber merch, thinking you'd make all these friends on the street while wearing it, just to never have a conversation about it and look like a 13-year-old with a poorly designed shirt. I'll take it as that, a sign to keep going. I hope the show is as big a source of energy for my unknown friend in front of me as it is for me. Thank you. That was one of my essays that I wrote. Maybe you had a good time. Maybe you felt something. Maybe you didn't. That's okay. Let me know. My Substack is below. My Instagram is below. I have a monthly meme newsletter where I send out the funniest memes of the month. It's also below. Love you, miss you. Bye bye.